Hey fam, good morning. I normally don't tap after work. Hey Roosevelt, how you doing? This is it's game on now. We have more corruption that's coming out. It's coming out so fast. The foggery, as I told you, good morning over there, is more than we're going to even to continue to talk about what Donald Trump is or is not doing. But I think he made himself clear when he went to Oshkoshka and did not even recognize those who were shot. And as I said, those two people were white that were marching for Black lives. So if that's not enough for white people, I don't know what to say. We already knew he didn't care about our lives, but he's told you now that he doesn't care about yours. He's made this into a law and order thing. Somebody needs to inform him for whatever reasons why he doesn't understand this mayhem and chaos. You're the president, dude. You're the incumbent. This isn't, you can't blame something on Biden when this is your administration and this is all going on under your watch. I am trying to, somebody sending me messages while I'm talking. I'm trying to do this quick because I am working on a Supreme Court appeal that it's ridiculous. Just I could tell you a little bit about what I'm doing right now. New Jersey has a raggedy, coming from the bench and the table over the last 30 years, New Jersey is notorious for alienating children from their fathers. And it's far too often women use children as weapons against men. And I'm not, saying that is in all the cases. We have a lot of men that are raggedy, but this state is notorious for automatically giving custody without consideration to the fathers if most of the women in this country are Marys. And I use that very rhetorically because we all know that there are no immaculate conceptions. And as we're in the middle of a pandemic, these courts are still not allowing fathers to see their kids. Now, as much as we do understand that, that people grown folks have grown folks issues should not be issues of children. And I am, I am adamantly against weaponizing children and for purposes of control. So we're going to, but see, this is one of the things that we have embedded in us in our self-hatred circle that we don't deal with. And that's how you can have 16% of Black men voting for a white man, because that can only be misogyny. That can only be men who just did not want to see a woman, and especially Hillary Clinton. Yet y'all was down with Clinton when with her husband and his ratchetness. He gets impeached, get back in. I mean, he only got impeached for, getting fellatio under the desk. But, and compared to what we got a pussy grabber right now. So he should never, ever, ever mention Clinton's name again. But that's old news. We got nonsense in the game right now that, between Melania's friends, Trump's associates and family, I don't know who else you could hear from. You done got Melania's girlfriend giving all kinds of ratchetness about her and him, and the Trump. Once you get on that Trump train, it becomes a part of their existence. I'm gonna stop tagging. This thing just drags me to heck and back trying to figure out how to tag everybody at one time. I know this is in a day. I am in the office, so I'm getting a break, waiting for my first appointment. I dress down. I'm not dressed at all, but I still try to stay comfortable. I always keep a blouse and all this stuff we have to do for. All right, I can't see. I'm keep hitting the wrong button, so I'm gonna stop this tagging. Roosevelt, if you get an opportunity. Let me see who else was over here, so I'll make sure that you guys are all in on the story as I'm going on to both channels at the same time. All right, so there's a lot of people who I haven't got, and I'm just going to tell everybody, I don't know, tag a friend. We have, I'm going to tell you about the issue that I have going on here, and then I'm going to talk to you just a little shortly about you already know what's going on with 45 and what he's doing. But I think sometimes we need to think about, because life is still happening in the middle of all this. COVID, children are being, all right, so, hey, how are you? So right now I'm in my office, and it's because I do mostly family. And during COVID, there is a lot of domestic violence going on. People are, I guess they haven't been in a house with their spouses or significant others. And I think I talked about this early on with COVID. And so there's a lot of domestic violence, and there's a lot of using children as weapons. I'm one of those women that I believe that fathers should have the opportunity to be fathers, no less than a mother being a mother. Women who are, I'm all about the movement and the empowerment of women. I'm also about family first. And when you talk about family, that means a mother, a father, a child, grandparents, sisters, and brothers. If you are a mother and you had a child with a man that you weren't married to, those were decisions that were made that did not include your child having an option in their coming into the world. If you procreate with a man, and you know we don't have to go through all of the details. I don't care if it's 30 seconds, 30 years, or 30 minutes. You made that decision. Women, you have a right to your body, so you have a right to decide whether you're going to carry a baby or not carry a baby. Once you decide that you're going to bring a child into the world, whether you're married to this man or you're not, this man now has a right to be in this child's life. He didn't have a choice, and he doesn't have a choice, and he shouldn't have a choice to tell you whether you should get an abortion or not. So if you choose to have the baby, remember that you had the baby with a man that you didn't know, that you didn't love, or that you didn't have a serious relationship with. When you make that decision, you have to also make that decision that this man is going to be in your life. If the man does not choose to be in your life, then you go to the courts and you get child support. You make sure that at least he's financially able to, and that he financially takes care of what his responsibilities are. And you know what, men, it shouldn't be so ratchet that someone should have to tell you that a child needs to eat, needs clothes, and all that. But let's put all that aside. If you have children and your relationship isn't working out, slight of abuse to children or sexual assault of a child, there's no reason why a father can't see his kids. Who that is, but I'm going to have to call them back. This is we have a really bad, we have a bad record in our community of learning how to communicate with each other for the purposes of raising healthy children. And I'm going to turn this phone off over here so this person can stop calling my phone while I'm on this live. We need to stop. This is a pandemic that's going on. If your kids are not in the same state or the same place with their other parent, whether you be the father or the mother, people are dying. We're in a place where we don't even know whether we should send our kids to school or not. There is no time to waste time fighting about whether a spouse that had their children or what are they paying. Men, because I want to make this very, very clear to both sides. Children are not possessions. You don't get to possess your child. You don't get to use your child as a weapon. If you don't get to see your child, you can't say, I haven't seen my child, so I'm not going to make sure my child eats. That's ludicrous. However, women, if he doesn't have the money to pay, or he doesn't pay, that's a court issue. It has nothing to do with the child. If you were married, that man with yellow having a fight, that man would still see his kid. I don't know. I'm 59 years old, and I've been doing this a long time. I've sat and I've made rulings. I don't make a ruling on custody regarding who, just because you're a woman. You don't have children by yourself unless you adopted a child, like my daughter, or you went out and bought some sperm at a sperm bank. There's a daddy that's attached to that kid. And you break a child's spirit, not allowing that child to be a whole person. The norms of this world is you have a mother and a father. These days you can have a mother and a mother and a father, but there's two people that usually it takes to make a child whole. There are thousands of single mothers and single dads out there for all kinds of reasons. But it should not be because the child is kept from that other parent because you have issues with that other parent. That is becoming to be far too often used. And in the midst of this, you're bringing up broken children. I look at this boy who did this shooting in Kenosha. A white boy who's looking for whatever he's looking for through a man that can't even be a daddy to his own kids, no matter how many dollars he might have in the bank. This boy had a mother who thought it conscionable to drive him when he doesn't have a license to drive to another state with a gun and kill people. We have a man who is occupying the White House, who has a son that we know he has no relationship with. That son is being raised by Melania. Melania, the first thing she did when that man was made, when they surprisingly got that presidenthood, she went in and changed her prenup. Because the way the Trumps work is all about money and control about money. So if with this girlfriend that said about Melania, they're in this money trap. And so when I was looking at the brokenness of Trump, the family, and the family relationship as a family judge, I try to take myself out of the fact that I hate the man's existence and look at the fact that he's a broken man. He's a broken man because he was a broken child, came from a broken father, came from a broken grandfather that were all racist. And they continue that legacy of racism, that legacy of bigotry, that legacy of treating people less than they are. That is a legacy that's going through right now that came out in the book of their cousin Mary. So we must look at the same thing as mothers and fathers. We're looking at a broken man break a country because he's broken. It's just a fact. This is a broken man that doesn't know how to be a father, doesn't know how to be a husband, doesn't know how to love, doesn't have any compassion, doesn't have any empathy, doesn't have any sincerity, loyalty. He is a broken man running a country with broken families. It's just like when I used to listen to gangs, the Bloods and the Crips, looking for father figures, looking for love, looking for someone to give them some security. I look at men in jail and women in prison who go into these groups just for safety, security. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to feel like somebody cares about their existence. We have a man that has no love because he got no love. Everything was done by power, control, and money. He confuses those things for love and emotion. And he has no empathy. That is the word. See, this is not about Republicans and Democrats. As I'm fighting for the rights of my male clients, and I look at the way they look at the system and how they've been treated, with not being able to see their kids, I try to correlate that with what is happening in the world that we're living in and how we get to the places that we are right now. We are dealing with brokenness. And this brokenness, no matter how many dollars you have in a bank, it's not going to fix the broken spirit that one has in their life. And so we're talking about a generationally broken man that can go to a city where people die. And, you know, we as Black people, we have this call their name, say their name. This white man couldn't even say the names of white folks who got killed by a white man. So I don't know why, is there any reason that any of you thinks that he may have any empathy? There's nothing that, this man is empty. He is void of something he cannot give you. He cannot give this to you. This is not about me hating him right now. This is about me actually diagnosing him from my perspective as working as a family court judge as long as I have, and I referee the relationships of parents and children, and I coordinate families and how, you know, they can best communicate with one another so that they can, you know, try as best as they can to be whole. But this man has a break. It's a shatter. It's not a crack. You know, some people have a crack and they really put together only by one piece of tape, and hopefully can camouflage and turning that tape of that vase backwards so you don't see that they're broken. And they may look like they're perfect on one side, but the other side is a big crack. And that crack is only held up by a piece of masking tape. But if you continue to pour and pour and pour and pour into a bottle, even masking tape is going to break. Concrete is hard, it's solid. You can break your head on the concrete. You get killed on concrete. But if you drop continually drop water, or drop water of pain on that concrete is going to crack eventually. We have been a country that has been a drop of water, a drop of water, a drop of water. We went through slavery. We went through the Civil War. We even fought in the Korean War. We fought in the World War. We fought in Iraq. We have been taking that drop of water. We have shattered, and there is no one but us who is going to care about us. We cannot think that this white man, even if he gets in office, is going to care about us. He has never been in our shoes. He has never been in our shoes. He can't imagine our shoes. And as much as he had places in Queens and he rented to people in low income, there were mostly broken white people that he didn't care about. He didn't give living situations to poor Black people. Those were poor white people. So you poor white people, all you need to do is go and see how he treated you. He was a slumlord in New York. So when I'm talking, we're talking about a brokenness. It's across the spectrum. And as I'm working on this case, I've been only dropping in and out of the news for the last couple of days because there's sometimes when you need to just unplug. And in that unplugging, I multitask. I told you one of those people. I have a high REM, so I sleep little, I work a lot, I read a lot, I write a lot. And in that brokenness, I see, as I am trying to referee the lives of others, I've had to consider that this man is just a broken vessel. He is sick mentally, and that is not just throwing out venom. The man he is mentally insecure. Whenever a man needs, he doesn't have love in his relationship. I mean, even I don't know what Melania is and what kind of woman she is, but I've watched her. I've watched these body languages. I've watched her with the face, like they give this fake little smile at each other. She can't stand. What is it going on in this family? But the brokenness that is there, he's turning that over to us as a country. As a country where we are already broken. We're dying at an enormous rate. We are now anesthetized to the fact that people are dying, and maybe because none of these people are in your family that are dying from coronavirus. At 189,000 people, more people have died, as I've said, than any war that this country's ever been in. But there's still people dying of cancer. There's still people dying of leukemia. There's still people dying of countless other sicknesses that is being exacerbated by COVID-19. Yet they're dying, women are dying in childbirth. And Black women are dying at the highest rate in childbirth right now. But we can't even get our minds to even understand those depths, because we're trying to figure out whether we can get this racist out of the White House, who is a broken man. He is a broken vessel. It is beyond politics. This is beyond politics right now. When I sent out that post, and I did the comparison with Chadwick Boseman, I said, I did a lot of tribute to T'Challa. And I said, that is probably a dishonorment of Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman played perfectly a character, but he also played perfectly James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson. They were all characters. So to minimize the man to a character, he will go down in history for that character. But he needs to go back down in history because the man who played the character and not the character. As I said to in your post, if you may or may not have read it, that character was written in 1942. 1942, we still didn't have many rights in this country. The Marvel's characters is a long comic book character, and I was a comic book reader. And as I said to some of you, the story of T'Challa, it came about as his father was the king. And, we've had our kings, our Martins, our Malcolms, Marcus Garveys, and, even South Africa, you have your Nelson Mandelas. And so I said, the way the story was written, Shuri was his sister in the story was supposed to take over. But Marvel's back then, as they were writing Shuri into the story, they did not believe black women, a powerful black woman, a superhero black woman, the white America wouldn't be able to accept that. So they shelved it. They shelved it for almost 60 years, 70 years. They shelved that character. So when that young brother pulled this, story up out of the ashes, it was an old story. So what I did is I knew, Marvel's character since the 60s when I was they only had white people in most of the Avengers, and, or you were green, you surely weren't black. And they did an experiment, and I don't know if you guys remember, the first Catwoman was Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt was a black woman. Eartha Kitt she even had that kind of catty voice. And for those of you youngins who don't know who Eartha Kitt is, I advise you to just look her up. Eartha Kitt was put in as Catwoman, and you wonder, how do you get all the way over there to cross it? I have a system to my madness. Catwoman, Eartha Kitt had the powers, and she did, it was all about playing this character of the Catwoman. But the Catwoman was one of those women she could get at Batman. She had to use sexiness, and but Eartha Kitt was a black woman. But here's where Eartha Kitt made her mistake, and this is why I'm telling you, I'm taking this around. During the time when Eartha Kitt was playing Catwoman in the 60s up into the 70s, Eartha Kitt made the mistake of speaking out against the Vietnam War. Eartha Kitt was blackballed out of Hollywood for 20 years. That's why most of you may not even know who Eartha Kitt is. The issue with Martin Luther King and Johnson, with Martin Luther King was talking against the Vietnam War. And good, bad, or indifference, one of the reasons why we got a lot of the civil rights that we got is so that he would stop talking about the Vietnam War. Everybody in this country knows Muhammad Ali. Rope-a-dope, Muhammad Ali, every white man in the world, or white man in this country, will all tell you Muhammad Ali is the greatest in the world. Even all of the boxers, I don't even name all these youngins. They will tell you that Muhammad Ali is the greatest in the world. I know white men that got Muhammad Ali up on their wall. But when Muhammad Ali spoke against the Vietnam War, Muhammad Ali had all of his belts taken away and was sent to prison. I don't know if y'all know what this country did to Muhammad Ali, because see, they, instead of killing Muhammad Ali, this Muhammad Ali had an ego bigger than the world. White men, they couldn't even understand, but he delivered. So when he delivered, that was money for them. But when he spoke against this country and against their fighting in a war, and black men fighting in a war where we can't even vote and we have no equal rights, they took everything that Muhammad Ali had from him and put him in jail. And I don't know if y'all keep up with your history or you keep up with your heroes, but don't forget, instead of killing Muhammad Ali like they did Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they tried to dehumanize Muhammad Ali. They tried to humiliate him. They took away a man who had a big ego and a big presence, stripped him of everything he had, and then threw him in a jail cell. But see, Muhammad Ali was stronger in his head than he was with his fists. So you gotta know the whole story. Y'all look at the boxing. Look at the man. So when you look at T'Challa, look at the man. Look at the man. Look at the man of Chadwick Boseman. Look at the man. Look at the man when we see Donald Trump. Look at the man. He's not a president. He is a broken vessel. He's a broken man that's breaking our country because he doesn't know any other way. You only know what you're taught. You only know your kids that don't know their fathers or don't know their mothers or don't have relationships with their family members that you are controlling. You are doing the same thing that Donald Trump is doing to this country. You are breaking your children. This man is breaking this country. No, he's not our father, but he's the leader of this country, whether we like it or not. So he can call and say anything he wants about Biden. Biden is not here while black people are getting killed, or white people are getting killed, or people are getting shot or choked, and that is not Biden. That is this man. He has to own this. He has to own this. He has to own this. But let me tell you what your vibranium is, what your power that T'Challa did not want to give. And that's what I wanted to tell you. I skipped it in the other story. The white world in the comic book series all came against Wakanda because they had this power that they did not want to give to the white world. That vibranium, if you want to, I'm staying with the story because I'm a comic book buff from the back in the day. That story was that power that was in Wakanda. They wanted to destroy Wakanda. That is our Africa. That is our oil, our diamonds, our resources. Africa is the motherland and called the motherland for a reason. They are not invading the continent of Africa just because the black people there. They're invading Africa because of the minerals and resources of the land. That was Wakanda. Don't think that white men are that damn bright that they can make up that story. They are only assimilating the story that is Africa. Remember the character that Michael B. Jordan played. We here in the United States, you got to look at the story now. I want you to just follow me. We are that character. We are the ones who were not left by our forefathers, but bought here. Africa was in such the continent, the 54 countries of Africa. And that's why I put that map so you could see how big Africa is. If as a continent, Africa could come as one and rise up, they could have come over here and gotten us. They could have come over here and gotten us. But Africa was broken. They are still broken. But we are still their vibranium. We're still that resource that keeps this world functioning. They will always keep their hands in Africa. And what they do is they make a few sick black men that ran countries. You can go through them of the history of the brutality of dictators in Africa that took on the same mentality of the oppressor and oppressed their own people. We are doing that with our kids, on smaller levels, but the results are still the same. We have broken countries, broken cities, broken families. We are broken. Our only way out of this, and I'm not saying that Biden is God because he ain't nowhere near there. I'm not saying Kamala is goddess. There is no God that's going to come down. God has given us choice. Whether you be Muslim, Jewish, Catholic, whatever your faith, or you believe in nothing, God has given us choice. Right now, we're not going to get no superhero. The king, both figuratively, and the one who is named king, ironically, is dead. The vibranium is each and every one of us as a collective body. We are the power. We are the power. The only savior we have is us. We can only support Biden. We can support Kamala with everything we got. And I'm saying with everything we have. We can fight over the damn particulars when they get that mother freaker out of office. Let's fight over the particulars then. But right now, in the midst of this pandemic, I am trying to keep families together. These families don't stay together. Ain't gonna be no vote. They ain't gonna give a damn about who's president. This president don't give a damn about these families. He ain't gonna care whether you get health care. He ain't gonna care whether your kid goes back to school. He doesn't care whether you die from COVID virus. So I've said 1,000 things, but it all comes back to the one thing: family. And I'm talking to you, family, whether you be black or white or Asian or Asian or whatever you are. If this right now as American people, we got to do this as a family. If this is your land and this is our land and all that other bullshit y'all say and all of those pledges of allegiance, or if you're pledging your allegiance to the country and hopefully with guidance to God, because I don't pledge my allegiance to no man. But if you pledge your allegiance to your own soul and your family, there's no way you can sit aside and let this thing just keep passing and passing and passing, while we are just dissipating right in real time. In real time. I don't know if I have the right words. I don't know if I'm getting into you or you just somebody on the other side of the screen, doing rah-rahs. I don't know whether you are looking at this as something merely than entertainment, because I'm going to tell you right now, I am not here to entertain you. I am passionate, yes. And I try to make some things light, but this shit is not light. This is not simple, and it is damn serious. There is going to be a civil war in this country if this thing, I don't know, it may happen where whichever it is, because the brothers down in the South are locking and stocking. They ain't getting the time that the white militia are getting on the back of their trucks, but they are getting they're getting their war game on. They're getting their weapons ready. I've been saying this, and I am not sitting here doing any. Look, I don't have to flame the fire. Donald Trump told you that this white boy, he had a reason to kill because he was going to get hurt. That's what your president said. This white boy who has been charged with murder, the President of the United States of America is giving him a defense. So if there's a jury in a town that has people that look like that's president, even though he killed 2 white people, he is going to get off. You can't even get an indictment from people who killed Breonna. Or any of the black people that have been killed since George Floyd. Other than the officers that killed George Floyd. I don't know if I'm talking to myself or if you guys really listen to me other than me sitting on here looking like a crazy woman. But I'm not crazy. I'm sitting here trying to do the best I can with the little bit I can. I sent out something this morning for those of you who want to work the polls. You can do it from home. It's the easiest thing you can do. But we got to do this, y'all. I'm going to get back to work. And I may be for the next 6 or 7 hours. But it is important beyond imagination. A broken man can't fix us. We have broken men that were broken children. And I can tell you a lot of brokenness came from mothers that broke up their kids. You hear Donald Trump talk about a lot of people. Who you know hear him talk about? You'll never hear Donald Trump talk about his mother. That was a sad-ass relationship. And so what did his father do? He turned his son into an animal with no compassion and no love. And the mother didn't have it to give because she was broken too. We got to stop putting broken. We try to worry about what your experience and how long you've been there, how old you are. But if you are broken, maybe we need to put in a part of our selection of presidents psychological evaluations. You need to know if you're sending out a murderer to be the person who protects you. That's what we did when we pulled Bill Barr in there. We put in a protector of a murderer by the highest office of law enforcement, the Attorney General's office. He doesn't give a rat's ass how many of us died. He is from a legacy of killers. And I know that, some of you understand he was the Attorney General for Daddy Bush. They don't care about us, y'all. We are the vibranium. We are the power. Our power is vote. I can rely on my sisters. I'm asking my brothers. 16% of y'all voted for this fool. I'm asking you white people that watched this white boy kill 2 white people, and your president says that he was only protecting himself, but yet you saw him walking down the street lally-gagging with the police department who gave him water and stopped, and then came and knocked on his door. They didn't Breonna Taylor his house and blow his ass up after they know he killed some white folks. They even gave Dylan Roof a meal before they took him to jail. See, they have a way of giving passes to those that they believe in the ratchetness that they did. Look and count every one of the people that Donald Trump gave a pardon to. I told you the difference between pardon and clemency. He threw these little few black people in just to give you a teaser. He hasn't thrown, there are men in jail since they were 16. There's a man in jail, he's like 88 years old. He's been in jail since he was 16, a black man that was accused of killing a white woman or raping a white woman. To this day, he says that he didn't. Nobody's giving him a pass. If you want to give a man a pass, a man that's been in jail for 40 years, he managed to live through prison for 40 or 50 years for something that you claim he did. And if we see what the setups are right now, how much they set up when we didn't have nobody speaking for us in law enforcement. Half of the goddamn prison system are innocent black men who've now had to be criminals in prison to survive. Stop the madness, y'all. Stop it. I don't have anything else to say. Listen to this later on, and I hope that somewhere in there you understand that we are a broken country run by a broken man who is only going to shatter the entire country, black, white, Asian, no matter what your religion, no matter what your faith, no matter what you believe, no matter how much money you have in the bank. they came out this morning. Russia's already in our computer systems. Russia's already in our healthcare. Russia, they had to take down I don't know how many sites where Russia is already in your inboxes. Russia's in your war games that your kids are playing. They're sending subliminal messages in your feeds when you're looking up something on Amazon or Google. The mind games. I told you that they're playing with your head. They're playing with your head. I'm just letting you know. All I can do is give you the information. You have to decide what you're going to do with it. I have to get some work done. I may get a chance, maybe later on tonight. But there comes a time even when I just have to unplug. Because I'm not here to entertain you. I hope that I say something to you that informs you that this is war. And your first weapon of choice is to pray to whatever God name that you do. Give him the strength to give you the strength to get through every day. Self-protection. You got to protect yourself, your health. Because your health don't mean jack no matter who wins. If president, your ass is dead. Because you got to take care of self first, then your kids. I say your kids because if you got a husband or you got a significant other, they grown, they got to help you help them. And then you got to make sure that the quality of your life is at least come back to some type of normalcy by putting a human being in the White House. I don't care if you don't like Kamala. I don't care if you like Biden. Right now, I wouldn't even care if it was Bernie, Warren, Buttigieg, or anybody on that Democratic side. I would be voting for them. This is not about party right now. This is about one man. This ain't even about Republicans. That's why you got people in the Reagan Society that have informed him that he should not use the name of Reagan out of their mouth again. The Lincoln Society has told him you should stop using Lincoln in any of your speeches. That's how bad it is. White folks are scared. They are scared. And they should be. And so should you. I'll talk to you later, people. You know I love you. Peace.